Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this video. Today I thought we could have a little discussion about the pros and cons of either self-hosting an Umbraco environment or using cloud and getting Umbraco to host it for you. I suppose the biggest disadvantage is if you decided to do an on-premise solution, is obviously you need your own server. You need to find a hosting company and you need somebody who can look after the server. Where with the cloud solution, you have, or with the cloud solution, all you need to do is basically manage the website itself, alter your domain, alter your DNS records, and point them towards Umbraco's servers, and Umbraco manage the rest for you, which on paper sounds pretty good, but this is more of a great video about Umbraco Cloud than self-hosting. Sorry Umbraco, but I do need to say this. Yeah, I found with Umbraco Cloud there's a couple of bugbears I've got with it. The first one being the fact that every time you push a change up to the site, it has to redeploy the entire site. I think with the latest version of deploy, I think there is an option in there now to stop it redeploying the site every time and only deploying the files that you specifically change. But I haven't tested it, so I can't comment on that one. The other problem we've found, and I think other people have as well looking on the forums, was the fact that potentially when you do try and push the site out, even if it's the same version of Umbraco and you've just changed a few views or some CSS, sometimes it will get part of the way through the deployment and fail. And you try it again, it fails, you try it again, it fails. So you end up having to get Umbraco involved, and it can take them anywhere from a couple of hours to a couple of days to fix the problem. We recently had an issue whereby we was taking one of our customer sites from Umbraco 14 up to 16, and we obviously did the upgrade in Visual Studio on my work machine, so I basically went from 14 to 15, 15 to 16. I know I could have done 14 to 16, but I prefer stepping through the upgrade process to make sure that going from 14 to 15 works, doesn't break anything, then 15 to 16 works and doesn't break anything. So I did that, tested it all locally, worked reasonably well, found I had no problems. Then we set up some staging space for that particular customer on their Umbraco solution, and then we pushed the changes to that staging area, and it didn't work. We ended up spending, I think it was nearly a week and a half, going backwards and forwards on Umbraco till they managed to sort the workflows out at their side to actually allow it to rebuild the solution and then push it to the staging web space. Bear in mind, this was almost a vanilla version of 16. There was a couple of custom modifications in there to handle some stuff to do with the way the navigation worked, but that underlying code shouldn't have made that much difference. But it was a week and a bit of frustration with Umbraco trying to resolve it. And the other problem we found is, and we've still got it, and Umbraco hasn't managed to figure this one out for us yet, they upgraded the rich text editor from TinyMCE to, I can't remember what the new one is now, but they upgraded it to something new. And ever since then, any pages that were created prior to that worked. Any pages that are created after that, obviously normally in the bottom right hand corner with Umbraco you've got a save and publish button. You click on save and publish, it errors. And that only started happening after they did something with a new RTE in Umbraco 16. Prior to when we did the original upgrade to 16, it worked fine. But after they went from 16.00 to 16.01, we found that all our RTs, though we can edit them back in the back end, save the page, then we have to go to the side menu and do publish. It's the only workaround Umbraco have given us so far. It's an annoying bug. I know theoretically, if we'd been hosting it ourselves, we may have got the same problem, but it's just another one of those. How that one manifests itself with Umbraco Cloud was, customer asked me to make a couple of changes to one of the pages, and Umbraco had patched it in the meantime, so I had to pull the patch changes down, merge them into my local solution, and then obviously do my changes, push it back up. At that point, everything seemed to work locally, so it was just a simple let's push it up, and the data types broke. And again, it took us 3 days to get that fixed by Umbraco, so we kept having to go back to the customer and going, yeah, Umbraco's working on it, there's nothing we can do, sorry, the site's there but it might be a bit flaky. So that is the biggest problem I see with Umbraco Cloud. One, it's some of it is response time from Umbraco, and two, you don't have what I consider finite control, whereby when we host on premise, we can, and we do, always take a database backup and a full backup of the site and put that into a backup folder on the server before we make any changes to a customer's live site. Don't get me wrong, we'll even with views and that, we'll basically make a copy of the view and put .excluded or something. Yeah, the views folder may end up looking a bit untidy and we have to go in every now and again and tidy it up. But it's not, it gives us that granular control. For instance, say we patch it from, example 13.5.5 to 13.5.6. We'll take a full database backup, full backup of the site as it stands, make sure all the files we needed for the patch were on the server, stop the site, drop those in place, restart the site. That usually takes us less than a minute. And then obviously test it to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to do in. That normally takes us less than a minute to do that. Where with Umbraco Cloud, if you're having to do the deploy part of it, it can take anywhere up to 5 to 10 minutes to actually do the deploy and then push all your changes, stop the site, start the site, and before you back up and running, where if you're on premise, you've got minimum downtime. I mean, if you change the view on premise, what do? Go change it on your PC, test it, go into the back office, overwrite what's there, a couple of seconds. Or you need to put a bit into the CSS file, you know where you've edited it, drop that into a CSS file, you're up and laughing. Where with Cloud, you've got to go through the whole up to GitHub, then it's picked up from GitHub by Umbraco's Cloud's back-end system as have solutions then rebuilt. Your files are then transported across. I think it can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, and in that time you sat there just watching a log on screen and just crossing your fingers and your toes hoping nothing goes wrong. As I said, where with potentially you host it yourself, you've got that finite granular control. But I appreciate with hosting it yourself as well, you need to, one, have a hosting company, two, have either a dedicated server or a cloud, or I would recommend a dedicated server. I would never host a business site on shared space. It would always be on a dedicated server. But obviously you need somebody who knows how to configure IIS and obviously knows to configure SQL and other bits and pieces like that. But if it was me, I would always go for on-premise hosting instead of cloud. I know Umbraco might put something in the comments saying cloud's good, it's this, we've got lots of customers on cloud, they're all happy. It just seems to be my personal experience with cloud. It just seems to be a little bit flaky, shall we say. But have a look, read the reviews, have a look on YouTube, see what other people are saying about Umbraco Cloud, and make your own decision. I just thought it might help, just coming from a developer who works with Umbraco and has used both cloud and on-premise solutions. And once again, thank you for watching.